We have some breaking news here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you to break down Richard Sherman's arrest. And Chase, this is a pretty big shocker. Let's get the info out, and then we'll chop this one up a little bit. Joe Fann, local reporter in Seattle, where the arrest took place, broke this news earlier this morning, saying King County Public Records, that's in Seattle, show that Richard Sherman has been booked for burglary domestic violence. The INV means it's being investigated as a felony. So, one of the cleaner-cut guys in the NFL over the last several years has been arrested for burglary domestic violence. Chase, your instant reaction?
Well, it's really surprising because Richard Sherman has always been a thoughtful guy, a guy who's somewhat calculated. He's made a lot of good business decisions off the field as well as on the field, and he's one of the most marquee free agents still out there right now, and he has said publicly, I want to play for 2 or 3 more years. You're looking at a guy who's a future Hall of Famer, a perennial All-Pro, a Pro Bowler as well, and he gets hit with this. My first reaction was a big surprise because I wouldn't expect Richard Sherman to be booked on a possible felony, and his bail also denied, which isn't a good sign for me.
Yeah, and here's the official booking record from King County there. So this is official. He has been booked. He has been denied bail, which is pretty significant for a high celebrity figure, if you will. Usually you get bail even on serious charges, which this obviously is one, being a felony burglary domestic violence charge. So this is going to be something that continues to unfold throughout the day and potentially for the next several days, weeks, and could be even months. We'll see how this plays out. Before we continue, let's hear it from you guys, the audience. Weigh in on this. What is your one-word reaction to Richard Sherman's arrest? My one word is pretty surprised. I mean, This is a guy that is a Stanford graduate, which doesn't mean that guys who go to Stanford can't get in trouble, but he's never had any legal issues to my knowledge, certainly not major ones. Been a high-character guy, a guy that you ask around the league, GMs, players, coaches, a guy in the NFL that represents the league very, very well. So for him to get hit with this, high felony charge, that's pretty significant and surprising.
No doubt, and I've talked on the 49ers report about the possibility of Richard Sherman going back to San Francisco. Of course, he's still a free agent right now, and one of the big talking points has been this. They drafted a couple of young cornerbacks in the draft in Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore, and I would say, what better guy to learn from than a stand-up guy like Richard Sherman, who I take stock in him going to Stanford because he's backed that intelligence up, and he was just making news and headlines on the Chris Collinsworth podcast with Adam Schefter with all of this recent Aaron Rodgers news as well. So he's been staying busy this offseason, and obviously he got busy with whatever happened. Of course, we're going to let the legal situation play out. I covered news a lot prior to coming here at Chat Sports. This process is going to take a long time to play out. And of course, you can't jump to conclusions just yet, especially considering the severity of these charges. Yeah,
and like you said, it's going to take time. And with, training camps just a couple of weeks away, it was already a surprise that he had not been signed at this point into free agency. Now, this throws a major wrench into his potential playing of this year. And as he's getting older, who knows what the future holds for him in terms as a football player. Obviously, he's got bigger fish to fry right now, dealing with this legal issue. The 49ers, a Seahawks reunion had been rumored as a possibility. So we know those two teams who he's obviously played for are obviously monitoring this situation as well. I did kind of want to hit you with we'll call it a definition, just what is burglary domestic violence in the state of Washington. So we'll just read this off for you. Quote, according to Washington law, there are a number of crimes that can result in domestic violence charges. RCW 10, just the classic, this is, one of the many laws that you go through, lists that many offenses that can also be considered domestic violence if certain circumstances exist. One such crime is burglary. Remember, this is a burglary domestic violence charge. Often, people associate burglary as a theft crime, and theft crimes are generally not related to domestic violence, but burglary involves entering a premise, usually with the intent of violence. So it appears that the charge here, Chase, shows that Richard Sherman entered someone's home or business or whatever. He was booked at 6:08 a.m., so maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and it resulted in violent manner, whatever took place inside. Again, we're going to let the legal situation play out. We don't know the details. We haven't heard from Sherman and or his agent or lawyer, but on the surface, this is not a good situation, as we're just maybe an hour into this thing.
Yeah, and let's try to decipher this as best as we can, right? I thought you made a good point when we were talking in the office once this news broke, that it appears as though, according to the definition of the law,
yes,
that he broke into some type of establishment, and after that, some type of domestic violence issue or situation had arose from that. That's our best guess as of right now.
At least an alleged incident.
Of course.
We will see
everything alleged right
how
now.
that plays out, certainly over, maybe the rest of the day, but obviously for the next few days and weeks as we progress forward here when it comes to Richard Sherman's arrest. Now, you might be watching this video on Chat Sports, Seattle Seahawks Today, or the 49ers Report. It's relevant to both of those teams and, of course, our main Chat Sports channel. And, hey, we encourage you guys to subscribe. We talk about a lot of NFL news and rumors. We unfortunately have to talk about serious issues like this from time to time as well when it's high-profile athletes. Our producer is Sam is rotating the different links down below. Our Seahawks link right there, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. 49ers Report is at youtube.com/49ers TV. Of course, Chase is the host of our 49ers Report, so you can find more videos of him. And you're probably watching or potentially watching on Chat Sports as well, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. Just crossed 249,000 subscribers over there. If you like the news we're bringing you, if you like more NFL discussion, we encourage you guys to subscribe to Chat Sports. And if you're a fan of one of these two teams, go check out those channels as well. Now, we do have to talk the football side of this a little bit, Chase, because obviously Richard Sherman was one of, if not the top free agent left remaining, at least in name recognition, right? Now, last year, he only played in 5 games. He was banged up, didn't play nearly at the level he did in 2019 when he was a core part of that 49ers defense that made the Super Bowl and could have easily won a Super Bowl. But we all believed that he was going to sign at some point, either during training camp or at least during the preseason, latch on with the team, because he had said, Chase, I want to play 2 to 3 more years and play for a contending team. Seattle and San Francisco were 2 teams that fit those bills and were interested in the cornerback.
Yeah, I understand he only played 5 games last year, but going back 2 seasons ago, back in 2019, he was one of the best cornerbacks across the league. He was a second-team All-Pro. He made it to the Pro Bowl. It was a nice bounce-back season for him, coming off some injuries that he had suffered with the Seattle Seahawks. Those injuries, of course, surfaced once again in 2020. But as you project forward, prior to this situation happening, I thought he was going to be able to hop on board a title contender or a playoff team and be a consistent, steady contributor on the outside and really bring a valuable veteran presence for a guy who's made multiple All-Pros and figures to be a Hall of Famer at some point. And Richard Sherman has said this past offseason, look, I want to play for 2 to 3 more years. I still think he has gas left in the tank, but now what happens? Now does a team take a chance on him? A team like the 49ers, who knows Sherman very, very well, do they want to bring him back into the building to tutor and teach some of those young cornerbacks? Of course, it all depends what happens and transpires with this legal situation, but as we sit here right now on this Wednesday, it's not good right now.
Yeah, I mean, and look, we'll ask you guys the question, will Sherman play in the NFL this year? Because I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that. That's very much in doubt at this point. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Obviously, he has a ton of value as a good player, as a leader on the field and all that stuff, but if I'm a team right now, I have to let this situation play out. You can't wait all off season to sign him and then, he gets hit with this, let's bring him in now. You have no choice but to let this legal issue play out, so get your votes in and let us know. I still think there's a decent chance he plays in the NFL this year, but this happening in mid-July, 10 days before most training camps get going, that's bad timing for Richard Sherman, as he's kind of just dilly-dallied this offseason in terms of choosing a team to sign with. So, you circle back to the news, getting hit with this burglary domestic violence charge in Seattle, King County, which Joe Fann broke earlier this morning. This is not a good situation for a veteran cornerback who is already coming off an injury-riddled season and is now 33 years old.
Yeah, and just really surprised by it. Of course, we're going to let everything play out here, but as we pop up this question before we head on out of here, how surprised are you by Sherman's charge? I think I'm scaling it up to 10.
Yeah,
I think I'm scaling it up to 10 for sure.
I've said this for years now. We should not treat athletes, celebrities as role models because we've seen too many times where they'll let you down.
No doubt.
And we don't know what the situation here is yet. We're just reporting what we know so far. This could be, charges could be dropped and all could be fine. But, I'm never completely surprised. But Richard Sherman was near the top of the list in terms of high-character NFL players, at least on the surface. So I'm definitely very surprised. If more information comes out on this story, we will have you guys covered here on Chat Sports. He's Chase. I'm Harrison. We'll see you very soon here on Chat Sports.